Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of Builders Talk. Sorry, I just had a thought my mic was maybe muted, but hopefully it's not. Good morning, Larissa. How are you today? So today on episode 17 of Builders Talk, I wanted to talk to you about the different stages of growth in your business. But first, I wanted to discuss something that happened to me yesterday. I was talking to a friend yesterday as I could feel that my mental health was slipping. It's a topic that no one wants to talk about, and many of us hide that part of our lives. We hide it as it is hard owning our own business, and there are money highs and lows. We're dealing with clients, we're dealing with staff, late payments, complaints, threats of court action, people trying to sue you. There's all these things that happen within the building industry, and I guess some of these things that are completely out of your control. People make assumptions about different things. Things aren't necessarily as they see them as to how they actually are. And all these things, I guess, eventually come down on us. And this industry isn't for the faint-hearted, and we have to have thicker skins than what others do. So builders are really good at hiding what may really be going on in the background. My friend said to me, she said, "But Ange, I always thought you had everything so well put together." And yes, I mostly do, but I have had my low points in running our own business. And she'd never really seen me like this before, and she started to see, I guess, the softer side of my thicker skin, the parts that we often don't share. And I explained to her that everyone has their own level of what they can deal with or cope with. And some people can deal with more and are able to do more things than others. And some people have, I guess, a lower threshold of their breaking point. So she's always saying to me, "I don't know how you do all the things that you do, because I may have a higher threshold than what my friend has." But I was at breaking point, and she got to see that happen. And I guess my current state of mind has stemmed from a series of events from the beginning of the year, and it started to take the toll on me and my family and my, I guess, mental health and my actual health. So I've previously mentioned in other episodes about my son being in hospital for 3 weeks. My father prior to that was in hospital as well, and my son losing his best mate prior to this. And we've been trying to help him deal with his loss. My son went to his first music festival on the weekend, and I think it really hit home with him that his mate was not there to experience this. And as a parent, that's really hard to, I guess, deal with. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you explain to a 16-year-old kid that his friend won't get to experience that? And for him, it's hard for him to understand and to deal with that. When you're a kid, you have, I guess, all these, dreams and stories of, we're going to be together, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They used to be up in our bedroom or in his bedroom, and they used to have the strobe lights on, and they'd be dancing to rave type music. And I guess this was the first music festival that he'd been to that was run by DJs. It had all the strobe lights, that was all there. And I guess at that point made him really realize that his mate won't experience that. And I guess that was the tipping point of, what's happening in the world at the moment, and having to deal with that and feel like I can't be there for him. On top of the crazy world that we're dealing with in the building industry at the moment, this perfect storm had been basically brewing in my head. And, the constant change in building schedules, the constant calls to supplier, trying to check on timeframes, looking for alternatives, sending out extra extensions of time, and explaining to clients about the delays, all while juggling delayed progress payments and supplier payments. And then add on top of this, your family. And I'm sure everyone wants their family to come first, and that's why they started their own business. And I guess it all just sort of came to me yesterday that I was feeling this guilt about not being there for my son when he needs me. So I'm sharing this story in the hope that some other people will speak up and ask for help like I did yesterday. So me and my friend came up with a plan yesterday for me to get help, for me to get a cleaner, for me to get meals prepared, and to cut back on some hours by getting extra help for our business to make sure that I can look after my own health. And we'll be able to, I wanted to be able to go for walks to clear my head in the morning. So we made a plan that she would come with me on Mondays and Thursdays so that we can, go for a walk, clear our head, talk all the troubles of the world away. And I guess being able to take time out of my business means there needs to be certain systems and processes in place to allow this to happen. So this was, I guess, my main topic of today's show was, I guess, having a chat to everyone and saying, when these times happen, you need to be able to be not that only person in your business. You need to be able to take that time away, or things do get on top of you and they can get that bad that, like I've spoken to before, unfortunately, some people don't see any other avenue out of it other than suicide. And that's my main reason why I've started this program and wanting to help people not get to that point in their business, because it is a very high stress, I guess, highly liable business that we work in, and we need to make sure that we're looking after ourselves and our family so that everyone else can prosper from that. So I've just got a couple of messages here that I will. Larissa's saying deeper crisis makes us stop and think. Yes, that's right. We do need to stop and think. She sees and feels my pain. Fu said, your message is real and has hit home truths of what a lot of people are suffering quietly. Getting help is a great thing to support us in times of stress. And yeah, I couldn't see how I could help my son, until I sat down with my friend and she said, get a cleaner, get someone to cook your meals. Like, they're the things that you can do easily that, you can still go and do your business because you've got these people that are doing these other things that you don't need to teach them, or you don't need to try and put a process in place. There are things that you can do that can alleviate that pressure in the meantime until you're able to put the systems and processes in your business so that you can spend the time to step away when your family really needs you. And you don't want to leave it till it's at crisis point. And that's when most people decide to do something, is when they're at crisis point. And it makes it hard for you. You don't have a clear space in your head to be able to then even work out how you can make the problem better. So I guess there's different stages within your business when you grow. And we usually start out, we start our business when we have some sort of frustration with a certain circumstance, such as we're working for someone else. You didn't want to work for someone and you didn't want to work for them anymore. You weren't happy with the way you're being treated, or you didn't like the people you're working with. You're sick of being told what to do by your boss. You might have thought that you could do it better. You could see that this guy didn't know what he was doing, or there was constantly problems, and you thought that you had the answers as to how to run that better. So you might have been working, in the instance of, say, a builder, you might have been working as a carpenter for someone else, or if you're maybe a builder's wife or partner, you may have been a teacher or a hairdresser. And same thing, you might decide, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work for this person anymore. I'm going to start my own business, or I'm, going to go and help my husband, my builder, start a new business. So you decide you could do it better, you cut the cord, and you've started your own business. You're doing what I would say the work, say, the technical stuff. You were doing that for your boss, and you assume that this is the business. And this is, I guess, a bit of a failure on our part, is we assume that the work we're doing, building the house, is a business. So you go out, you become a contractor in the first instance, you start, and then you soon start to understand and are forced to learn to make the business work. And you start to realize that you're doing the work, the technical stuff, plus having to do the business stuff. Now your job becomes, I guess, not just a job, it becomes a job with all this other stuff attached to it. You start having to think about, how do I get a customer? How do I get money in? How do I do all the ordering? How do I do all the marketing? How do I deal with the clients? What's all this paperwork that I have to do? You know, when you're doing the technical work for someone else, you didn't necessarily see all that other stuff that's happening behind the scenes. You know, you just see them, you know, here's your next job to start building this house. So the work that you love doing, building, now becomes something that has to be done, and it becomes everything, and you get consumed by it. As a worker, you usually will work till you drop. You wake up the next day, you do it again and again and again. And your business goes through these various stages of growth. So the first stage, which is sort of the stage I've just been talking about, is the conception stage. So which is where you are, and I guess the business, you and your business are one. So you, I guess there is no way for you to remove yourself from that business. The business may be even named after yourself. My husband's father had a kitchen factory and he called it Scott's Kitchens, our last name Scott. The customers and the employees won't then forget who the boss is. So this might be your mindset. Well, I'm going to call my business Scott's Kitchens because then everyone knows it's my business and I'm the boss, and no one's going to forget that. But this is a bit of a problem in that everyone, I guess, expects you to be there and you to be the person answering the questions. So you're setting yourself up as the person that does everything. So in this stage, you are doing everything. The business is you. Clients come in and they ask for the builder. You've set yourself up to be the one. And we all fall into this trap. And even myself, when we had our business, I needed to actually move my office desk into the back area of our factory because I was constantly getting interrupted and not being able to do the work I needed to do because the employees wanted to constantly ask me questions. The suppliers constantly wanted to come in and try and sell me things. The clients always wanted to speak to me and not the other staff that I had in the office because I was the business. They were always used to seeing me. So it took a bit of a transition period for people to realize that my staff could answer the questions. When a subby came in to give me his invoice, he didn't need to speak to me. He just wanted to give someone an invoice, but they always wanted to stand around and have a chat. And I guess this is where you start to realize that I can't do everything. I'm getting so bogged down with all this other, you know, talking to people and just taking invoices from people and doing stuff that's not really productive, and that you are the go-to for everyone. Your business depends on you, your personality, and your client. And you start to see that everything is not getting done. And this is when you really start to realize that your business depends on you and you don't own a business and you have a job. So I guess the next stage, I guess you start to see that you want to be freed of this job. So this is when the next stage may come into fruition. This stage ends when you realize you can't keep doing things the way you're doing it and you need to change if you want to survive. So you often start to feel deflated and hopeless and overwhelmed when you're in this stage. And this is often when people might give up and they'll go back and work for someone else. Or they're going to move and evolve to the second stage, which I've called evolving. So this is when you decide to get help and you need to bring in the reinforcements. So at this stage, I guess it's usually, like I said, when you hit crisis point. Like me now, I'm having a personal crisis and my family must come first. So I need to seek help. And only the ones that will seek the help will survive. And I already have help in my business and I know it will survive as I've already gone through the third stage of business, which is the sophisticated business. So at this stage, you are building a business that works because of you, but can work without you. So this is the stage that you can start to see, you know, I guess you're moving through that process of, okay, I started as myself, now I've got some workers, and now you need to evolve that to start to be able to take yourself out of that business. And this is, I guess you can start, so some people can start a sophisticated business from the beginning, and you go through the conception and the evolution growth stages, but you usually use a template of a business that works. So an example of this would be a franchise type business. It starts with a model, and you already have a vision and the systems in place, and you in effect buy an entire sophisticated system for doing business. And once you get to the stage, you need to have a plan that is less dependent on being people driven, but being system driven, and to ensure that that business can work without you. I guess you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to get to that stage? Or I think I'm at that stage, but it's still just not working for me. I'm still running around trying to put out fires constantly, and there's no real system in place. Nothing's consistent, nothing's predictable. So this is the stage where you can re-engineer your business and make it start to work for you. So you want to have a clear picture of what you want your business to be. And I've spoken about this in episode 10 of designing a business that's as custom as the homes you build. And like when you build a home, you have a plan to build that home. So, the client comes in, you have a plan, and that home is envisioned by the client, and then you put that on paper as such. So as a plan, which is then built and comes to life like what they envisioned it to be. So you need to do the same for your business. You need to have a plan, a model as such in your mind of what you want your business to look like when it is built. What do you want it to be like when you've built it? Like a house, you see it here on paper, and then you see it come to life. We don't do that with our business. We just sort of plod along, and when a crisis hits, we go, this is not working, we need to change something. Quick, everyone jump on board, and we're going to put in this new system, or we're now going to make clients jump through this hoop. But you need to start actually designing that so that every person, I guess, experiences those same things, so that you're building a consistent, predictable system that can be run by people. If you don't have it that's predictable and clear and concise and in a system, it's done differently by every person each time, and no one gets the same experience. And, this client might get this type of treatment, this client gets a different type of treatment because it was done by two different people, or you didn't know that this person does it that way. And clients, I guess, see that is happening and don't necessarily then have the same experience, and don't necessarily then like that way that business has been run. So I guess once you start to have a vision, you need to sort of ask yourself, what's that business going to look like? And then act that plan out. And just like clients, I guess, look for the right builder to build their dream home, to make their vision come to life, you need to do that to your business to make it work for you. You need to build your business to a plan. You need to devote, I guess, the time to developing your business. It just can't survive on you just doing the work. What I mean by doing the work is just doing the building part of things. You need to work on how your business acts, how your business looks, how it does what you were promising to deliver. What do you need to give your customers, and also be able to maintain the control of that business? I guess you need to ensure that you're building a business that is profitable, and that's what we're here for. We want a profitable business, but it needs to, I guess, to be able to be profitable, work predictably and effortless. And your business, I guess, will live or die based on how well you're able to find and keep your customers. It's not, unfortunately, enough just to do the work. I guess, have you ever wondered why you give a client everything you've promised, but they still, there's still dramas? You've built them this absolutely gorgeous, beautiful house, and, there's one little thing that they just can't get past, and you're there thinking, you've got this beautiful home, look at it, it's amazing, and focused on this one tiny little ding on the floor that they can't get past. And it's because the experience you've given them, it may not have been what they envisioned about the process. So it's like they try and find any little thing to, point out or say they didn't like their experience. And that's their way of dealing with that experience they'd had with you wasn't good enough. So it's not just about giving them a home. If they didn't enjoy the experience from your business, that is what they will remember. They'll remember all the phone calls you never replied to, or they'll remember the emails you didn't get back to. They'll remember the one thing that you didn't do right, like I said, and forget all the other beautiful things that are in front of them. You wonder why they are picking on that, that little scratch, and you wonder why they don't see the bigger, beautiful picture that they have in front of you. Their experience in your business was not all that they thought they should get for the money that they were paying you. And we have to stop and think about the money they pay us for the materials and labor for their home and start to realize that the business is not just doing the work. They do pay you for the materials and they do pay for the labor. But within that money that they're paying you, they're expecting an experience. And if you're just doing the work and not giving them the experience, it won't satisfy them and it won't satisfy you. So if you're just doing the work to satisfy you, to get your money, that's not what's going to satisfy the customer. So if you feel like your business is just a job and you are everyone to everything and you need to re-engineer it to work for you, I'm offering a 3-day intensive VIP program to engineer the chaos into consistency, where I spend 3 days with you assessing your business and reconstructing it and providing you with a plan and the support for the next 90 days to get that business, I guess, to a point where you will have the ability to step away from it if you need to. So I'll not just tell you what you need to do, but show you what to do and how to quickly implement systems and processes that will allow you to re-engineer your business to be as custom as the homes you build. So until next week, have a good week and keep powering your business.